Welcome to June 2018. Today, Street View is going to cover off our Walk for Dog guides happening on Saturday, June 24th. And since the Progressive Conservatives got elected, what the heck is going to happen to the Toronto real estate market? Come on, let's go and check out the details. Our Pet Value Walk for Dog Guides is happening on Saturday, June 24th at 10 a.m. And I know many of you have already jumped in and sponsored or registered for the event or even planning to come for the event, and thank you. But for the rest of you, it's still not too late. And so here's the website. You can go there and look up the Beaches Walk, and you can see us, Madeline and myself, and you can sponsor us or you can plan to come yourself. But please do register. We'd love to know who's coming, and we can plan accordingly. We are going to have some prizes. There's going to be lots of dogs there. We're going to have a DJ mixing things up, and it's going to be a wonderful, fun day. It's a very short walk, but it's going to be great. All dog lovers, we can bond together, and we can help make a difference in the lives of people that really need the help, the gift of a dog guide. So starting with our simple recipe again of how supply plus the demand equals the given results that we see in the real estate market. So as it pertains to supply, it's all about the new listings. And new listings are the new listings that come to market, obviously, but we're seeing a greater number of relistings that are happening too, which inflates this number a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's the number of actual active listings, and we'll get to that in a sec. So let's talk about year-over-year performance. Orange bar is May 2018, yellow bar is May 2017, and then 2016, 2015, respectively. So year-over-year, down 26%, the number of listings. And we can see how that yellow bar really had a ramp-up experience in 2017. And last year at this time, we had a real shortage of listings. And when the pricing shot right up, a lot of sellers said, hey, it's time to get a benchmark price. Let's bring our house to market. And then that helped fuel the correction that we saw in price, along with the Fair Housing Act. And that was definitely an influencer, and we've talked about that. And then interest rate changes. Yes, all of those things have gone into helping price moderate and keeping the market more balanced, which is still good. And you can see how that orange bar is very similar to the 2016, 2015 numbers. So I would say that we're seasonally accurate right now. It's a very balanced market, healthy market, I would say. So when we talk about now, how many active listings in total are there, right? As opposed to how many came in, how many went away, we're left with active listings. What's on the market right now? So that total number is 21,000 right now. And so what was it last year at this time? 18,500. So there's only about a 13% differential there. So once again, we have slightly more listings this year, which I think is a more balanced market, should moderate price growth. And I think it's a more comfortable market in a lot of ways for many people. The demand side of the equation is always related to the number of sales that are taking place. And for the month ending May 2018, we had 7,834 of them, which represents a 22.2% decrease. Now, when we look at the 3 prior months, and you can see in the chart, the orange bar is substantially below any of the 3 preceding years for what's happening so far this year. So this is a continuing story. Now, in the month of April, the sales differential was 32%. In March, it was 39%, and in February, it was 35%. So what I would say is, once again, there's a little bit of this balancing. The sales numbers that we're experiencing this year are definitely lower cumulatively. When we look at the year-to-date numbers, are 31,957. Let's call it 32,000. And last year at this time, it was just shy of 47,000. Which represents a 32% decrease. So when you take the total number of sales that have happened so far this year, they're down about 32%, despite this kind of little zigzagging that we're talking about. So what is that all about? Once again, affordability. And I think that there are a lot of people that have stepped away from the process saying, oh, it's too crazy and the affordability just isn't there. But I've got some thoughts on that. I'm going to share some exercises that I think will be helpful for you. But this is trying to demystify what's really going on in the market, because we can take any given numbers and say, wow, look at that differential. Oh, the market's doing this. Oh, it's doing that. And what I would say to you is that what it is doing is what's normal, is that it's been rebalancing for over a year now. And the marketplace that we're in right now is cautious, but it's also very, very good and much more sustainable, which I think is a healthy thing for all of us. And now the results. Average price is sitting at $805,000 for a home in the Greater Toronto Area. That represents a 6.6% decrease, and we can see how the orange bar has been below the yellow bar because 2017 was this benchmark year with respects to price. But if you've been watching these episodes, I have been talking about the convergence of price, and we're getting very, very close to it. And you can see how the yellow bar, orange bar are getting very, very close. The month of June, we might see that transition, and then July, August, we might see that 2018 is actually above what it was in 2017 because 2017 had the correction start in April, and you can see how it dove down through the month of June, July, August, and it was very moderate throughout the balance of the year. So I think that that's going to be a continuing theme. So when we talk about price being down 6.6%, if I go back to 2016 and relate it to then, in between 2016 and now, it's up 7%. If I go back to 2015 and now, it's up 24%. So, when you take a 3-year average, it's still phenomenal growth. We'd like to see between 4 and 6% as much more sustainable growth for the value of homes, that incomes and other factors can kind of keep pace, interest rates, et cetera. But this is where we're at. All right, so now let's look at the details. And we can see how there's really been a flattening in the 416. And we can see how detached homes are still down slightly, but when it comes to semi-detached townhomes and condos, there's that flattening has happened inside the 416. And a lot of my colleagues are talking to their clients and to one another about how price is actually up on really good properties. Multiple offers are still there, but not every property. There are many properties on the market inside the 416 that are traditionally priced, sit on the market for 2 to 3 weeks, and you can negotiate, and it's wonderful. It's a great market in that regard. And for sellers, we're still getting very fair prices, almost very similar to what we got last year. We're hanging on to that benchmark price in some areas. Now, in the 905, it's been a different story for many, many months. And the differential there and the inventory levels there are much, much higher than they are inside Toronto. And I think there's a little bit more of a leveling off there that you can see in the numbers. But I think that that's going to take a few more months to wear in. And eventually what's going to happen is the pricing in Toronto, as it ticks up and it's flattened out first, it's going to cause people to shift out to the 905 again. And that's what happened last time. Affordability eroded in Toronto. People got in their car and they said, we got to get out of the city. And the commuting is not getting any easier, so the 905, it'll come back. Now, what I would like to point out, as I have been talking to, is this differential between a house in the city, let's call it a semi-detached house, versus a condo. And we can see that in the month of April, I said that it's probably the closest it's going to be. I don't want to say that I'm always right, but in this particular instance, I was, that in the month of April, the differential was $420,000, right? That the average price last month was close to $600,000, and then the average price of a semi was just over $1 million. It was $420,000 differential. And this month, it's up to $465,000, the differential between a semi-detached home and a condo, and you can see that in the chart. So I think we're right there. So for anybody that's sitting in a condo and you're thinking about making that jump into typically a semi-detached home is the next step, we're about as tight as we're going to get. So some great opportunities out there if you want to make that transition, and we'd love to help. Okay, so now we're going to break down the affordability equation. And once again, this is the chart that tracks affordability since 1986, and it has the big run-up in the market in the late 80s, 89, when there were double-digit interest rates, like close to 18%, and house values skyrocketed and then corrected. And it's been this slow, kind of bumpy path through the 90s into the early 2000s and to where we are today. And what is this number all about? Well, this number is the percentage of an average income that can go towards housing. It's affordability. So if the average price of a home goes up, the affordability goes up. If interest rates go down, the affordability goes down, which makes housing more affordable. And if price on homes goes down, that too takes the affordability index lower. So when we have a low affordability index, like around 30%, then there's going to be, with enough demand, there's going to be a lot of price growth. And that's what we've seen over that same time frame from, say, the 1990s through to today. But we can see how we had that little dip right here around 2007. That was the global recession that we experienced, and interest rates did what? They took a huge dip down, and prices not so much, but really interest rates went down and low for a long time. So they hung in there for a long time. But what happened to housing prices? Yeah, we've been talking about that. They cranked right up. So then the affordability gets squeezed right up to the maximum, 40%, which is the guideline that lenders use to say how much mortgage you can afford. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that your household income is $100,000. Just for a round number, makes the math simple. 40% of that would be $40,000. Out of that $40,000 down to a monthly is approximately $3,250 per month. Now, inside a monthly payment of $3,250, we're going to have to deduct property taxes. Let's call that $250 a month. Let's deduct heat, and that could be another $150 a month. Once again, a very conservative number. And then let's say that we're in a condo. And so we need to take half of the maintenance fee. Let's say that that is $250 out of a $500 maintenance fee. We deduct those things. We're left with $2,600 a month that can go towards mortgage. So how much mortgage financing can we get with $2,600? Well, the math there is approximately $500 per 100,000. So with a $2,600 a month budget, we can get approximately $500,000 in mortgage financing. Now, all you need to do is say, I can get a mortgage of $500,000. Now, all I need is my down payment. And so if it were a minimum 5%, you could afford a house at $525, or if you had 20%, it'd be $625. And so, and yeah, some closing costs, but that's how the math works. And so understand that when the affordability index gets up to 40%, it's going to limit people's ability to buy more housing, to get more mortgaging, which is going to limit price growth in the marketplace. And so it also forces people to shift where they're shopping, right? They can't afford something in the 416, they'll go to the 905. I mean, we looked, the average price of a condo in Toronto is $605,000. Barely fits our little recipe. Now, if you go to the 905, for $650,000, you can get a semi-detached house or a townhome. If you can't afford that and you want to get a condo in the 905, it's $460,000 is, I believe, the number. So it's all about shifting to where the affordability is, and that's what people do in the marketplace every single day. Point being that affordability is a key driver. So when we see interest rates go up, price growth is going to be moderate. When we see household incomes aren't really climbing or household debt is increasing, that's going to affect the overall affordability here. So that's going to limit price growth, and that's how affordability works. Well, I trust you found today's episode both insightful and engaging. And so, as always, we appreciate you sharing this information with those that might have a need or an interest, and we're never too busy for your referrals for friends and family members. And until next month, I'm Matt Emerson of RE/MAX Hallmark Emerson Group Realty. Bye for now.